There was even a flutter of boos at full time. A bizarre hashtag Potter out last night on Twitter. I mean, come on.
Pay much notice to that.
But what do you think? Are they in the mood to give Potter time and patience?
Well, isn't it?
They have to.
I don't think it's actually the Chelsea fans that are particularly impatient, is it? I mean, whenever there's a manager being taken out, you get this, this huge inflow of people calling up and saying that's not appropriate. They weren't happy with, at the time, a lot of them weren't happy with Lampard being taken out under the conditions that he was brought in under, a squad that wasn't able to be built upon and not given the time once he was able to build upon the squad. They weren't happy with Thomas Tuchel. So I don't think he's got the fans to worry about. I think he's got the ownership model, and if the ownership model is true to its word, he'll be given a certain amount of time to be able to build something. If he stinks the place out, which I've no doubt that he won't, then that model might change. But I don't think Chelsea fans are the ones that cause pressure. I mean, I watched a significant part of the game last night. I didn't think that Chelsea, there was any issue with the players' motivation and application. They're just not a very cohesive side right now. They're not very quick on the ball. They don't seem to be very cogent in their thinking, and really and truly Salzburg should have been put to the sword because they were a very young, inexperienced team. They might be playing in the European tournaments regularly, but their average age of that squad was very young. So really and truly the foundations were there for everything for Chelsea players to step up. I think any boos would not have been directed at Graham Potter. If there were boos, they would have been just howls of derision about the fact that they haven't won a game.
Yeah. I mean, they send out their own message, fans, don't they? I mean, a bunch of Chelsea fans took part in this 21st minute applause for Tuchel with a chorus of "We've got Super Tommy Tuchel." Well, no, they don't. He's gone. Yeah. But they wanted to make that. They wanted to make the mark, and they wanted to be heard with regards to Tuchel.
That's their view. I mean, it wasn't so long ago they were pleading for an owner. Right now they've got an owner, and it's a case of some fans at some times you can't please. Whatever you give them is they'll want something else, and they've now got a particular torch for Thomas Tuchel, and that's fine because Thomas Tuchel did a decent job. They won't look at the nuance. They'll just say, as the narrative builds up, and we'll talk about it later on the show, that Todd Boehly is just another corporate animal, and I really don't understand what people think. Someone comes in and buys your business for £2.5 billion. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to sit there and be passive and not have some sort of investment and involvement in the club. And there is a distinct possibility, and it's not me being in the owners' union, there is a distinct possibility that maybe Thomas Tuchel wasn't as easy to manage as people think that he was. And maybe there just was not a meeting of the minds. Graham Potter is a good English coach. Chelsea should be pleased that they're a leading light in taking, not young, because he's not young, he's 47 years of age. When did 47 become young? Mourinho took over Chelsea when he was 40.
Yeah.
That was young.
Yeah.
47 was the same age as Thomas Tuchel. So with that in mind, Chelsea need to get themselves together because really and truly this group of players aren't doing themselves justice. And I'm not surprised that he made certain decisions because the very first thing that Tuchel did when he came in, the first game he played, I think, was Wolves at home, and Chelsea were a little bit dysfunctional, and he brought back all the senior players. He brought Rudiger back in, I think, he brought Azpilicueta back in, and he brought Alonso back in for that game because he wanted to see the senior players in amongst the mix. So when we start talking about decisions that he's made about whether he's dropped Fofana or Koulibaly, to me it looks like the same sort of thought processes. Okay. Let's get the senior guys in that I'm going to rely on. Yeah. And get them amongst the mix.
Actually, Simon, keen to hear from Chelsea fans this morning. What do you think? I mean, Potter's in, Tuchel has gone. You're going to give him time? Are you going to be patient with him? Give us a call this morning, 03717 223344, or send me a message, 81089.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.